citizens of Anguilla. Strengthen them with courage to lead fairly and humbly, always seeking the welfare of the nation above personal gain. Protect Anguilla from turmoil and fear. Cover this island with your grace, your favor, Lord, and your mercy. May harmony rise above conflict and hope overcome every disagreement and love triumph over every spirit of discord. We declare peace over this nation, peace over the leadership of this nation, and peace among all the people of Anguilla. Let unity flourish. Let your guidance shine upon this house, now and throughout all generations to come. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Confirmation of minutes of proceedings of the third meeting of the second session of the 13th Anguilla House of Assembly.
I ask the members of this honorable house to have a look at the minutes of the previous meeting as was circulated to see if there are any amendments. Recognize the member, single island-wide member, Mr. Jose Vanderpool.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Seeing no corrections in the minutes, I'd like to move that the minutes be confirmed as circulated.
Is there a second there?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second.
I put the question that the minutes be confirmed as circulated. Those in favor? Those against? The minutes of the preceding meeting, the third meeting of the second session of this House of Assembly, be confirmed as circulated.
Oath of allegiance to new members, none. Announcements by the direction of the Speaker.
I would have received apologies from the Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member for Island Harbor as well. Apologies for the Honorable Member from West End, the Honorable Member for Valley North, and the Honorable Deputy Governor. I would also like to make an announcement on behalf of the Nurses Association of Anguilla. This month, the month of May, is actually Nurses Month, and the nurses here in Anguilla, they've organized a number of activities across this country. We're especially pleased that this year, the nurses in Anguilla are welcoming the Nursing Association from St. Martin as well. As a matter of fact, today is actually Nurses Day, Nurses International Day. And the nurses of Anguilla, they are hosting our counterparts from across the water. They will be doing visits, and they'll be having a look at the systems here in terms of nursing, what the association is involved in, and so on and so forth. And they will collaborate in terms of activities for the nurses. It's a month of activities, and I would like to highlight some of the activities that will take place during this month. One of the major highlights of this week is a nursing symposium where the nurses and the healthcare professionals will engage in discussions on critical topics affecting healthcare today, healthcare in the future. It will also include education, healthcare financing, migration, workforce sustainability and leadership, and the future of the nursing practice. These discussions are essential as we continue to strengthen our health system and address the evolving challenges facing the nursing profession, both locally and regionally. Another item this week is a key event, and it is named Hearts Health Expo. It would be held at the Central Polyclinic on Friday, May the 16th. This initiative is particularly important as cardiovascular diseases remains one of the leading causes of morbidity and mortality in our region. The expo seeks not only to provide screening and information, but also to empower people to take greater responsibility for their own health and well-being. Members of the public will benefit from free blood pressure checks, blood sugar screenings, health education sessions, wellness demonstrations, nutrition, and fitness guidance. They'll have educational games and activities, free food samples, and practically demonstrating self-care and disease prevention. Participants will be introduced to the digital health initiatives. We have a My Care Corner, which is an application that allows individuals to access and monitor their health records from home, thereby improving continuity of care and encouraging personal health management. Additionally, this month, the nurses will include a wellness hike this Saturday, which encourage physical activity, healthy lifestyles, community wellness, and fostering fellowship among health professionals and the wider public. I also wish to highlight the Nurses Recognition Cocktail and Awards Ceremony as an important initiative that it was established some time ago. I believe it was in 2015. And this program helps to recognize the commitment and excellence of lifelong contributions of the nurses in Anguilla. The award will be presented under different categories: Mentorship Award, Clinical Excellence Award, Leadership Award, longest serving in each nursing category. I extend sincere gratitude to all the nurses for the services and sacrifices, the resilience and continued commitment to delivery of quality healthcare services here in Anguilla, and I commend the Anguilla Nurses Association for the work that they continue to do under harsh conditions, not totally ideal, but we all know that the nurses are the backbone of any healthcare system. And I want to congratulate them and thank them for the work that they continue to do here in Anguilla, despite the challenges ahead of us.
Questions? The Honorable Member for Road North.
I recognize the Honorable Member for Road North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have to get customers saying that. Good morning to everyone here with us and to everyone listening. As outlined in the 2026 budget on the capital expenditure, an allocation of $40.5 million has been identified for the acquisition of lands for development, as well as the acquisition of the former NBA building. Additionally, the capital budget also includes a line item for the retrofitting of NBA West. In that regard, I would like to ask the following questions. 1, has a valuation been done of the former NBA building? If so, what is the value of the building?
I recognize the member for Sandy Hill.
Good morning to you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to the members of this honorable House and the listening and viewing public. Mr. Speaker, I thank the honorable member for Road North for the questions raised concerning the former NBA building and the government's wider public sector accommodation planning. These are important matters both from the standpoint of fiscal responsibility and from the standpoint of ensuring that the government of Anguilla is properly positioned to deliver services efficiently, sustainably, and in a manner that best makes use of public resources. Let me be clear, the status of the ownership of the NBA building has not changed from the time the Anguilla Progressive Movement was in government, of which all of the members of opposition were a part between 2020 and 2025. To answer question 1, has a valuation been done on the former NBA building? If so, what is the value of the building? Mr. Speaker, preliminary internal work was undertaken to inform budget planning and to ensure that an appropriate capital provision was made. However, that exercise should not be treated as a formal valuation for acquisition purposes. A formal valuation would be undertaken through the appropriate technical process, coordinated through the Department of Lands and Surveys as part of the acquisition process. That work is still being advanced, and no formal valuation has yet been commissioned. Given that the acquisition-related work remains ongoing, it would not be prudent to disclose or speculate on the value at this stage. The government will ensure that any final decision is supported by proper legal, technical, and valuation advice.
Thank you, member. Question 2. What is the proposed cost to retrofit the NBA West building?
Mr. Speaker, for clarification, I understand the NBA West building to refer to the west wing of the former NBA building, which government of Anguilla currently occupies. The immediate focus in relation to NBA West Wing is the retrofit of currently unoccupied space so that it can be brought into productive use for identified government departments. Following Hurricane Irma, government undertook retrofitting works to much of the remainder of the building to allow critical public service functions to be accommodated. The West Wing now represents one of the remaining areas of unoccupied usable space that must be properly prepared for occupation. At this stage, the working estimate for the West Wing retrofit is in the region of EC 1.5 million. However, that figure remains subject to refinement as the government works through the specific needs of the departments identified for the space, including layout, ICT, mechanical and electrical requirements, accessibility, security, and general fit-out. More broadly, once the acquisition of the whole building is advanced, government intends to undertake a fuller assessment of the property to determine what further updates and upgrades may be required across the building. This will include ensuring that the facility is energy efficient, resilient, properly maintained, accessible, and fully fit for purpose as a long-term government asset. The approach, therefore, is not simply to occupy available space, but to ensure that a building of this size and strategic importance is used properly, maintained responsibly, and upgraded in a phased and sensible manner to support modern public service delivery.
Thank you again, member. Question number 3. Who is listed as registered owner of the former NBA building?
Mr. Speaker, based on the records reviewed, the property is understood to be registered in the name of Anguilla Assets Holdings Limited. However, as honorable members would appreciate, the registered ownership position is only one part of the analysis. There are other historic arrangements and legal interests associated with the property, which must be properly reviewed before government takes any final acquisition step. The government has therefore sought legal advice to ensure that the ownership and enforceable rights position is properly understood and that any action taken is legally sound.
Thank you again, member. Mr. Speaker, I think number 4 was answered just now along with number 3, but I'll read out number 4 for the for the benefit of those listening, if that's okay with you, sir.
Fine.
Okay. So question 4 would have been, has an opinion been sought from the Attorney General Chambers on ownership of the building? So we'll go on to question number 5. Are there any registered liens or mortgages on the former NBA building? And if so, who are the creditors with an interest in the property? And if any part of the purchase of the former NBA building, and will any part of the purchase of the former NBA building be used to settle the outstanding charges?
Mr. Speaker, the property is subject to historic financing and security arrangements, which form part of the legal due diligence now being reviewed. At this stage, I would be cautious about characterizing those interests publicly or making any statement about how they may ultimately be treated in an acquisition process. The government has sought legal advice on the status and effect of those arrangements, including the implications for any acquisition and compensation framework. No final determination has been made on the structure of any acquisition or the treatment of any related interests. The government will proceed carefully and in accordance with the applicable law.
Thank you, member. Question number 6. What is the total amount currently being held in escrow in relation to rental payments for the former NBA building?
Mr. Speaker, to be clear, there is no escrow account holding rental payments in relation to the former NBA building. The government has, however, maintained internal provision in relation to the matter while the relevant rental and legal issues are being clarified. Recent engagement has taken place regarding reconciliation of the records, and legal advice has also been sought on the treatment of any payments following expiry of the lease arrangements. As that process is ongoing, I do not propose to state a specific figure at this stage. The government will ensure that any payment or settlement is made only after the position has been properly verified and supported by advice.
Thank you, member. Question number 7. Can an explanation be given as to how the acquisition of the former NBA building fits within the broader long-term strategy for public sector accommodation, particularly in light of the proposed new administration building?
The acquisition of the former building has been viewed as part of a broader public service accommodation strategy, not as an isolated transaction. The building is already substantially occupied by government, is located in a highly strategic area, and sits within the same general block as other key public offices and proposed future public administration infrastructure. The government's objective is to reduce fragmentation, improve service delivery, make better use of strategically located assets, and ensure that public offices are planned in a way that supports both operational efficiency and convenience to the public. In relation to the proposed new administration building, consultancy services have recently been commissioned to ensure that the government's approach to new public buildings alongside existing accommodation is properly thought through. The intention is to ensure that these investments complement each other rather than duplicate functions or create inefficiencies. The former NBA building and the proposed new administration building therefore form part of a wider, phased approach to public sector accommodation. Government must consider not only the construction of new facilities, but also the proper use of existing buildings, particularly where those buildings are already in government use, are centrally located, and are capable of supporting the delivery of public services.
Thank you. Question number 8. What is the intended use of the former NBA building, and how does this relate to the proposed new administration building? And what measures are being taken to ensure value for money? That's economic efficiency and effectiveness.
Mr. Speaker, much of this work is ongoing. However, the broad intention is to ensure that a building of this size, location, and strategic importance is appropriately utilized in the public interest. The former NBA building is centrally located, proximate to other public offices, and capable of supporting the delivery of centralized government services. Given current office accommodation pressures, it provides an opportunity to better organize departments, improve accessibility, and reduce inefficient fragmentation across multiple locations. The relationship between the former NBA building and the proposed new administration building is therefore being considered carefully. The government is assessing the needs of departments, the best use of available space, the phasing of retrofit works, and the long-term role of each facility within a coordinated public sector accommodation plan. From a value for money perspective, the government is focused on economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. That means ensuring that any expenditure is justified, that existing space is properly used, that departments are accommodated in a practical and cost-effective way, and that future capital investment is planned in a coordinated manner. Mr. Speaker, the government will continue to proceed carefully and responsibly. The objective is not merely to acquire or retrofit a building, but to ensure that Anguilla's public service accommodation is better planned, better coordinated, and better aligned with the long-term needs of the people of Anguilla.
Government statements on recent developments? None. Papers? The Anguilla Financial Services Commission 2023 Annual Report and Accounts.
I recognize the member for District 2.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to lay the Anguilla Financial Services Commission 2023 Annual Report and Accounts on the table.
I order that this paper lie on the table and be published.
Reports from committees? None. Petitions? None. Government notices? None. Private members' notices? None. Motions? Motion 7 of 2026, 2/13 HOA. Customs Duty and Tax Exemption, Regulations 2026.
I recognize the member for District Number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the following motion: Customs Duty and Tax Exemption, Motion 7 of 2026, -2 of 13 HOA, Regulations 2026.
Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Resolution made by the House of Assembly under Section 77(1) of the Customs Act, Revised Statutes of Anguilla, Chapter 169, and Section 3 of the Excise Tax Amendment Act 2020, was proposed and seconded in the House of Assembly on the 12th day of May 2026. Whereas a certificate of good standing that had not expired or been cancelled was produced to the Minister of Finance in relation to the importers, be it resolved that under the powers contained in Section 77(1) of the Customs Act, Revised Statutes of Anguilla, Chapter 169, and Section 3 of the Excise Tax Amendment Act 2020, the House of Assembly exempts from customs duty and excise tax the goods imported into Anguilla specified in the schedule. The following conditions apply in respect of all goods exempted by virtue of this resolution. A, the goods shall not within 5 years of the date of importation be sold, exchanged, given away, or applied to any use other than the use specified in the schedule. B, on the expiry of 6 months from the date of importation and each successive 6-month period within the 5-year period after the date of importation, the importer shall certify to the Comptroller of Customs in a form acceptable to the Comptroller of Customs that he has complied with the conditions set out in paragraph A. C, upon demand made by a customs officer, the goods exempted under this resolution shall be produced or otherwise accounted for to the customs officer. D, in accordance with the Customs Administrative Cost Recovery Act, Revised Statutes of Anguilla, Chapter 170. At the time of import, the importer shall pay the customs administrative charge at the rate specified in the schedule. 2. In accordance with Section 71 of the Customs Act, Revised Statutes of Anguilla, Chapter 169, the following apply in the event that a condition referred to in Section 1 of this resolution is contravened or not complied with. A. If any of the goods exempted under this resolution are sold, exchanged, given away, or applied to any use other than the use specified in the schedule within 5 years of the date of importation, 1. The importer shall pay the customs duty and excise tax on the value of such goods at the rates specified in the integrated customs tariff at the date of importation. 2. The importer and any person knowingly concerned in such sale, exchange, gift, or unsanctioned use is guilty of an offense and may be arrested and is liable to a fine of $20,000 or 3 times the customs duty, excise tax relieved, whichever is the greater, or to imprisonment for a term of 2 years or to both. And 3, the goods in respect of which the exemption was granted are liable to forfeiture. B. If the importer fails to certify that he has not sold, exchanged, given away, or applied the goods to any use other than the use specified in the schedule, 1. The importer shall produce or account for the goods exempted under this resolution to the Comptroller of Customs. 2. Any goods not produced or accounted for will be deemed to have been sold, exchanged, given away, or applied to some use other than the use specified in the schedule and paragraph A1 applied. And 3, if any goods not produced or accounted for are subsequently found, they are liable to forfeiture. C, if the importer fails to produce or account for the goods exempted under this resolution upon demand by a customs officer, 1, the importer and any person knowingly concerned in such failure are guilty of an offense and may be arrested and are liable to a fine of $20,000 or 3 times the value of the goods, whichever is the greater, or to imprisonment for a term of 2 years or to both. And 2, if any goods not produced or accounted for are subsequently found, they are liable to forfeiture. D, if the importer fails to pay the customs administrative fee at the rate specified in the schedule at the expiry of 30 days from the date of delivery of a demand for payment made by the Comptroller of Customs for such longer period as may be designated by Comptroller of Customs, 1, the importer shall pay the customs duty and the excise tax on the value of such goods at the rates specified in the integrated customs tariff at the date of importation. 2, the importer and any person knowingly concerned in such failure are guilty of an offense and may be arrested and are liable to a fine of $20,000 or 3 times the value of the goods, whichever is the greater, or to imprisonment for a term of 2 years or to both. And 3, the goods exempted under this resolution are liable to forfeiture. And Mr. Speaker, attached to the resolution as just read is motion number 7, the schedule. The importer is Kyle Carty / Bayview Resort. The purpose is villa renovation. And the period during which the importation is allowed is from the 12th of September 2024 to the 12th of February 2026. The goods that may be imported are attached, and the rate of customs administrative charge is 5% of the administrative charge of the value of the goods in respect of which customs duty exemption is granted. The duty loss is EC $10,415.56. And the customs duty loss calculation is attached with the description of the goods as itemized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Is there any contributions to this motion? I recognize the member for District Number 6.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's really good to see you sitting up there. You look quite handsome. Mr. Speaker, I rise in full support of this motion. And this is where we ought to go, especially when we're talking about our hospitality sector. We have one of the best products, if not the best product in the entire world. And I see and foresee that our tourism numbers are going to continue to rise and rise and rise, and we must be able to position ourselves to capitalize on that. And the events in the Middle East is going to ensure that our tourism continues to rise. As you know, Dubai is one of those major tourism sites, especially when it comes to upmarket tourism. And it's not the safest place to be right now. And persons are still looking for a beautiful warm weather destination with great amenities. And Anguilla is that such destination. Best food. We are the culinary capital of the Caribbean. The world's best people. That is our greatest asset. Great accommodations. And people like to say world-class beaches, but we have the best beaches. So in other beach, they have to compare to our beaches, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, Kyle Carty is a hard-working Anguillian man who has invested both time and funds in the hospitality sector. And it's great to see locals really getting involved in the development of our hospitality sector. And while I say this, and this is no knock on government at all, but one of the things that we have to work on, and I believe we can have full support across the different political lines and different divides, is over there at the ferryboat inn, on the entrance of the ferryboat inn, Mr. Speaker. While it is the dolphin discovery did well for Anguilla during its time when it was in existence, since September the 5th, 2017, Mr. Speaker, when Hurricane Irma came in and ravaged the enclosure down there, it has remained idle for the better part of 9 years. And during my time as Minister of Tourism and Infrastructure, I had many occasions where I called upon them to remedy that situation. And on many occasions, they promised to do so. And I have no doubt that this administration will continue to ensure that those calls are followed up in whatever legal means that we can utilize to ensure that that is remedied, it shall be remedied. I have full confidence that the present administration will follow through and ensure that that is remedied to ensure that our product continues to elevate and escalate. So again, Mr. Speaker, I'm in full support of this particular duty-free concession, and I wish Kyle Carty the best as he moves forward in the development of that product.
Thank you, member. I recognize single island-wide member, Mr. Jude Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just rise in conjunction with my colleagues in support of this measure before us. And I'm happy to see that today is one of those days that across the aisle we are in agreement. I join with my colleague, the representative from District 6, in sharing the sentiments that Mr. Kyle Carty is a hardworking Anguillian who's been engaged in several different entrepreneurial ventures. And I too am in support of such endeavors, because particularly despite what's going on in the global geopolitical landscape, as we look forward to continuing the works with the expansion of the airport, the discussions that we have on an ongoing basis with various airlines to expand and increase our airlift to Anguilla. And if we look at the number of our visitor arrivals that has grown month after month as we continue to break records, and we intend to continue to break records, Mr. Speaker, I too believe that we don't necessarily have enough beds for the amount of heads that will soon be coming to Anguilla. So I encourage this, I support this, and I encourage more Anguillians to invest in creating more beds for the more heads when they arrive. Because as the member said, Anguilla has one of the strongest and one of the best tourism products throughout the region. And as we continue to grow our economy, and as we continue to grow our tourism product and improve access and bring more visitors to our shores, we want to make sure that Anguillians are not on the sidelines of the growth and the economic participation, but they are actively the owners of it. They are the drivers of it. So we encourage such initiatives. And seeing that the member would have referred to the situation with the dolphins and the infrastructure that was left over there after being damaged to Hurricane Irma, I do feel pressing to touch on this at this time, because Mr. Kyle Carty himself is one of the biggest advocates and proponents for cleaning up that area. Mr. Carty, it's no secret, he gives me many calls on various matters, but the dolphins is one that he's truly passionate about, that he's reached out to environmental health on many occasions for the safety of the beachgoers, the effects on the marine life, and for the turtles. So I want to thank Mr. Carter not only for his driving passion as it relates to this and a number of other factors, but for being an advocate on the Dolphin Project. And just to provide an update to the member, while I was unaware that during his time as Minister of Infrastructure that he would have been reaching out, I would like to provide him my assurance that this administration has picked up and have continued to reach out to help address the issues as it relates to not only the environment, but the community. And in fact, through the Minister of Lands and his team, I was invited to join a call where we engage with the proprietors who are responsible for the dolphins in terms of trying to advance and find a meaningful resolution. While I can't give any open promises at this time or timelines at this present moment, Mr. Speaker, it's just to let it know that the issue hasn't been forgotten and this administration is pushing and advancing on that. And as the member would have said, that during his tenure as minister, he had several conversations, but still, it shows that it takes some time to actually push this, because it's no secret that the company that owns the Dolphin Discovery, they filed for bankruptcy in the US. So there's a lot of legal loopholes and in terms of the logistics of remedying the situation. But this administration is committed to pushing and advancing the rectifying of that situation as quickly as possible. So we'll continue to push, Mr. Speaker. But again, I offer my support.
Thank you, member. Are there any other contributions? I recognize the member for Road North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to add to the members who have spoken before me and just stand in support of this motion. And this is what we want to see as Anguillians, that the young Anguillians take a stand and take a chance and get into this growing tourism market. As the member, the single island-wide member, Mr. Vanterpool, and the member for Road South said, our product is growing, and as it continues to grow, it's nice to see that there are Anguillians who want a piece of the pie. And I'm sure everyone here in the House will encourage such endeavors. So I just want to again stand in support of this motion for Mr. Carty and wish him all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, member. Are there any further contributions to this motion? If there are none, I beg the mover to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank the members of the House for their full support. At this time, I have no further comments to add, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, member. I put the question that motion number 7/2026-2/13 HOA becomes a resolution of this House. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Motion 7/2026-2/13 House of Assembly is now a resolution of this honorable House.
Personal explanations? None. Other business, government business. A bill for commercial registry and beneficial ownership registration system, Amendment Act 2026, first reading.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the bill shortly entitled A Bill for the Commercial Registry and Beneficial Ownership Registration System Amendment Act 2026 be read for a first time.
Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second.
I put the question that the bill shortly entitled A Bill for Commercial Registry and Beneficial Ownership Registration System Amendment Act 2026 be read first time. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. I call upon the clerk to read the bill a first time.
An act to amend the Commercial Registry and Beneficial Ownership Registration System Act. Private members' bills? None. Private bills? None. Other orders of the day?
If there are no other orders of the day, I invite a member to move for the adjournment of this honorable House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move that this honorable House be adjourned to the 22nd of May, 2026.
Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I rise a second.
I put the question that this honorable House stands adjourned until May 22nd, 2026 at 10 a.m. Those in favor, say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. This honorable House stands adjourned until Tuesday, May 22nd at 10 a.m.